Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you are joining us in the Life is a Sacred Journey community. I'm laughing this morning because it's been a comedy of errors. I overslept, as well as I left the phone at home that I normally go Facebook Live on. And my daughter had to put my Facebook on my desktop here. And she asked me what my password is, and of course I don't know what my password is. And so it's been a comedy of errors this morning. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Micheal Pope, and I am your host of Life is a Sacred Journey. And we are here on this Juneteenth. Good morning, Sister Taz. Teresa, it's good to see you. And it is Juneteenth. And I, this morning on my way in, was listening to NPR, and they were, of course, engaged in a lot of discussion around Juneteenth. And I yesterday did a video, and in my role as the conference lay leader for the Cal Nevada Conference, and I've been thinking about Juneteenth ever since I taped that, and a part of it is it took 2 years, for the Emancipation Proclamation news to get to Texas in order for Juneteenth to even happen. And to think that the Emancipation Proclamation was written so long ago, and that we are living in a time where it's questionable whether or not we ever really were emancipated in the true sense of what emancipation means. And so I just want to say, I know that people are getting tired. I've actually had one or two Facebook folks say they're tired of hearing about all this Black Lives Matter and when we stop talking about all this stuff. And maybe we didn't talk about it enough. And so we have to continue to talk about it until there is a change, until we can all come together and talk about it and be okay. I've been in a variety of meetings over the last 2.5 weeks, and some of them have been very painful, where the terminology of microaggression is just dancing around the meeting, that some of our allies in much of some of our work don't see the double standard in which we are living in some of the systems, and trying to explain that only makes me look like an angry Black woman and not somebody who is just my reality and has been my reality in this group ever since I've been in the group. So we've got to have the conversation, and we've got to do it in a way where we can hear it. People have to hear it, and you've got to hear it without thinking that I'm talking about you. If the shoe doesn't fit, as they used to say, why are you trying to put it on? Why are you not just trying to listen and engage in conversation? So I want to welcome you to Life is a Sacred Journey. Please hit that share button, hit that like button. We are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on Twitter, TikTok, and all of those streams. And so please share Life is a Sacred Journey with your friends and family, and share us through your network so that we can get the message out and get engaged as we talk about caregiver issues and other issues. Today I have two guests that are joining me, and Carla McManus, has been with on the broadcast, the podcast, many times. She works here as a program director, but she also is a music therapist and is a certified Montessori instructor, as well as was pivotal to bringing Montessori techniques here to Alzheimer's services of the East Bay. She was reared in the soil of Canada, and so she comes bringing a different flavor to the work that we do here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. And then my other guest this morning that I asked to join us is Maryanne Connor, and Maryanne has joined Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay recently as our social worker for our Haywood program before we had to make the decision to close that center. And she is now working with us in Berkeley and doing care management and telephonic outreach, and she has a master's in social work. And I thought it would be great now to bring a conversation to, we've been talking about COVID-19, we've been talking about Black Lives Matters, we've been talking about the joint sort of marriage that COVID-19 and the disparities that we see in Black and brown lives, the fact that in nursing homes where there have been a vector for the disease passing itself around, have been in facilities that are Medi-Cal, Medicare. And so, we just know that low income people living on, on the fringes of life have a harder time of, Jade's walking in and out of my thing, have a harder time in knowing what is going on. So we need to make sure that we're aware and that we're talking about what's happening in the lives of Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, as well as all the other things that are going on. So as we continue this conversation, if you have any questions, hit them in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. So I want to make sure that we do that. So good morning, Carla and Maryanne. Welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So I wanted to touch base with the both of you, and I want to start with you first, Maryanne, because I know that you have been talking to our families out there and having conversation with them on the phone, telephonically, and how they are living and trying to make it through sheltering in place, caring for someone at home. Can you kind of talk about what you're experiencing and what you are hearing as you make those calls and as you speak to people? What's happening in the homes of our families?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've seen a lot with my family so far is it's hard to engage their loved ones in activities. With the attention span of our participants, it's difficult to find things that interest them and that keeps their attention. So one of the things I mostly have been suggesting is finding simple yet fun activities to do, such as, word puzzles, things like that. As mentioned earlier with our YouTube channel, I've been suggesting that as well because we have really good videos on there of different activities that we have done here at the center that our participants really enjoy. I recently had a family who had that problem, and we just kind of brainstormed about the participants' interests and things like that. And what we came up with was based on the interests of the participants. For example, this particular individual was interested in animals and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we suggested virtual tours of zoos and things like that to really catch their interest and really keep it. Another thing I've been experiencing during my calls is caregiver stress. Because our caregivers have to be with their loved ones 24/7, it's a lot more difficult for them to do the things that they need to do, and it's really a lot more difficult for them to take care of themselves. So a lot of what I've had to do is look into in-home care options for them, and different things like that in order to help the caregiver be able to do the things that they need to do. So that's another thing that I've been experiencing. Another big one I've had is, it just left my mind.
That's okay.
But yeah, so those are just a couple of the things I've been experiencing, you know, as I make my calls and have been checking in with my families.
But when your families, I know that we've been hearing from you and the rest of the social work team, though, that there are families that now, due to the lack of being able to bring people to our daycare centers, they are thinking about placement where they hadn't thought about that before. Or I'm hearing also that we've had a couple of deaths. And I'm not saying that it's because they're not coming to ASEB, but prior to those individuals not coming to ASEB, they were not having the kind of, I think socialization and getting out every day and going into the world really makes a big difference in the life, not just of the caregivers, but of the people that they're caring for. So can you, I know you talked a little bit about the stress, but can you talk a little bit more about why you feel this model helps families, you know, even if it's only 4 hours a day? What is the significant difference in their lives right now?
Sure. And that is definitely true. I've had quite a few caregivers come to me and ask me to help them with placement options and really kind of getting the care out of their hands. So I definitely think that the socialization piece of it, which a lot of the caregivers bring up, a lot of them are telling me, you know, their loved ones miss ASEB, and the caregivers are worried for their loved ones that they're not getting that socialization and that cognitive stimulation that they're getting, that they were getting on a day-to-day basis. I think I've had at least 4 to 5 caregivers come to me and ask me for different respite options since ASEB, you know, since the shelter in place began, different options that they can have at home, you know, for stimulation and socialization and all of that. And we have had a few deaths. I think a lot of times when, you know, like you said, when you get that socialization and cognitive stimulation, it kind of keeps their mind active and they're not deteriorating. It appears to me that without that, they're just declining significantly.
And so, you know, I know we've been sending out, I'm getting ready to show, and again, I don't know what's happening with my Facebook Live this morning. I think that we're going to have to do the video and record it and then drop it down later, but continue to listen, continue to share, and if you can see us, great. If not, you can hear us. So let us know you're hearing. Write any comments that you may have in the comment area. I can see that my sister T did write something earlier, but I'm not seeing any other comments at the moment. So I had to do Facebook Live on my desktop this morning, so I'm not sure that things are going the way I want them to. But at the end of the day, if you can still hear us, and you'll see the video later because I can see that it's recording. These are some of the kits that Maryanne was just talking about. I'm going to open one here just so that you can see the content of this kit. And what, you know, we have folks that we care for with Alzheimer's and dementia. And thank you, Carolyn, for letting me know that you're there. I appreciate that. And these are coloring, adult coloring pages so that they can color. This is the resource page, a call to action in Alameda County, because all Adult Day Healthcare and MSSP and different programs were slated to be, oh good, you can see me, good, were slated to be cut by the budget and we still have time. And so those of you that are listening in, please call or write the governor's office and ask him to protect the adult day health care programs, MSSP, in-home support services, and all of those programs. So that's in there to remind families. This is a word finding game. This here, a hand grip. So this is just an exercise page to show families that they have things right in their homes that they can use to support their families. Let me go this way. You don't have to have weights, but you can take a can of soup, or a bottle of water can be a weight. And this was an activity log that we sent out to the families to put together so they could have a variety of activities that they could write down. We also, as Maryanne said, developed a YouTube page that we had before, but now we're putting activities on it. And then this is just a little chime thing that you can paint and put together. People that are living with dementia, trying to keep them tactile and doing all the things that keeping their hands moving and keeping them engaged is so important. So every week here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, 77 of those packets get delivered to families that are ASEB families. We are more than welcome. Welcome to support others in the county. We're working with the state to figure out how we can do that in an equitable manner. But that's just a couple of ideas that you can put together those activity kits in your home, in your faith-based communities, and get them out to caregivers who are caring for their loved ones at home. And Maryanne, when you as a social worker think about the one thing you would say to the governor or to our elected officials, even in our county, around our services and the importance of supporting them financially and with legislation, what would that comment be?
My comment would be that if the help and assistance that these services bring our caregivers, it can't be understated. It is so important, not only for the participant in the way that they're getting that much needed stimulation and socialization, but also for the sake of our caregivers. Because so many times I've had caregivers calling me crying because they need that break. And, you know, if they don't get that, then it's hard on them, harder than it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also have Carla McManus on the line here, and Carla has been doing an excellent job. One of the things that we're doing here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, every week, Maryanne, along with our nursing team, have to do a COVID assessment of all of the people that we serve. And that assessment means Maryanne and the nursing team have to call and figure out, what do folks need anything? Do they need food? Do they need medications? What do they need? But Carla has been helping to man the 7 people, the 10 people that are coming into the center. We have 10 people that have been arriving here daily, Monday through Friday, for 4 hours of adult day health care. They are here with a very small team. We have stringent social bubble and medical protocols before anyone can enter the building. They are isolated in a program space. But Carla, what are you hearing, not only from those participants that are able to come? What are you hearing, seeing? And then for the caregivers that many of them are essential workers or the primary caregiver. In one case, one of our folks that are coming, he actually lives alone. His sister takes care of him, but he lives alone. Why is this so important to those individuals? And what are you seeing and hearing?
Well, I think each family has a different story downstairs. And I think what is consistent throughout is that they wouldn't be able to function and have their mom or dad or brother, sister, loved one at home if we didn't have this service available to them right now.
Right.
There's people that are really struggling with the idea of placement because we have seen a lot of people be placed. I was actually on a call yesterday with an epidemiology person specializing in infectious disease, And in California, over 51% of the deaths were in nursing homes. So it's a really, really scary time for our families because they're trying to navigate through this. We're all trying to navigate through this. It's hard enough as a grown adult to try to navigate yourself, but to try to navigate your loved one as well, it's been really difficult. So, they're struggling with the fact that, do we need to place mom or dad? Is it safe to place mom or dad? Help, just help. We need some resources. Do you have any answers? They thank us every day for just being here and just listening to them. And there's days that they drop off their loved one and they're just in tears because it's been a bad night. And, they'll want to hug you, and you can just see how much they need that human contact because they're just so burnt out that they want that human contact. And unfortunately, right now, we can't give them that.
Yeah.
So the services are just so essential to keeping these people at home. For the governor, I think he needs to understand that these are seniors. These people gave their lives to America or wherever, and they need to be treated with respect and dignity. And cutting these services is immoral. It's irresponsible. And these seniors need to be treated better than that.
Yes. And Carla, I appreciate your saying that the caregivers are just looking like they need a hug. And we are in the business of serving people here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, and we have to always get numbers. There has to be numbers, right? We're always getting numbers for grants, to give to the state to prove that we serve the people. We to get money to serve the people. And I've been doing this now for a little over 20 years. Somebody said to me the other day, well, maybe it's time for you to go and do something else because it sounds like you're getting tired. And I had to say to them, well, I'm always tired because I'm tired of the fact that humanity does not understand that we don't dispose of our human beings once they get to a certain age. So that me retiring is not going to make my life any better because I'm just going to go fight somewhere else until we understand as a humanity that the human life is not disposal. It's not disposable, and that seniors should be living out their last days, years, and months, and seconds in a place where they are respected and in a country where they are seen and not seen as just frail, sick, non-contributing individuals, because when they could, they did, and now it is our time to support them. So you heard from Maryanne and Carla this morning, and we join the voices of other people from the California Association of Adult Day Services, NASDA, the National Association of Adult Day Services. We join Carolyn Brent, who has been an advocate for just for years, trying to get people to understand the need of the caregiver. The Stuart Furman, who looking at all the aspects. Name somebody, Carla. I'm trying to name all the people. Legal aid for seniors. In-home support.
Wendy Peterson.
Yes, Wendy Peterson. Wendy Peterson, who works really hard to get all of us together as community-based adult services, and then to walk into those rooms with our board of supervisors and to represent us. I'm not always able to go to those meetings because I really like keeping my knuckles on the ground with the folks, and I'm not always present at those meetings, but I know when Wendy is there that my voice is being heard through her. So we've got to come together as a collective and say no to these things. So pick up your phone today. The budget is being signed. It's going to be a done deal. And the line item veto authority that our governor has. And first of all, I want to say something. Governor Newsom has been an ally. He has been an ally when he was in San Francisco, and as our governor. And I know right now with COVID-19, the budget is a mess. and he's trying to figure out ways to make sure that we can bounce back. But let's not bounce back on the back of our seniors. The backs of the seniors are not trampolines, and we have done this every single time the state gets into trouble. Let's figure out another way. And you know what I want to say? And this is what you should say when you make that phone call, or you send that fax, or you send that email. Let's make these programs a permanent part of the budget and not ancillary or fringe benefit, so that they constantly come up as something, the low-hanging fruit that can be ripped out of the budget at any time. I have been at ASEB for 20-something years, and there has not been one budget year that hasn't gone by that we have not shaken, thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are they going to eliminate the benefit to people who are Medi-Cal eligible and who are receiving managed care benefits? So it's up to you, and I know we have a lot of things we're fighting for right now. We're fighting for the recognition of those who are living in communities where COVID-19 is not only there, but on the rise. We're fighting for the lives of our Black brothers and sisters, brown Black brothers, and Native, indigenous sisters and brothers who have been victimized for a long time. But I think it all comes down to, how do we treat each other as a humanity? And if we thought that we were treating each other as a humanity, then it wouldn't matter, would it? Because we would respect each other if we were tiny babies, all the way to if we were 135 years old. We wouldn't have to think about all these categories in which we decide to place our allegiance. My allegiance is to the humanity. I don't know any other way to call it. And as a human being living on the face of the planet, and I know Maryanne and Carla have that same philosophy, or they would not have gone into the fields that they have gone into. I know that all of you that come back every week to Life is a Sacred Journey, share it and put your comments in the comment section, feel the same way, or you wouldn't bother come to listen to me drone on for 30 minutes and listen to our guests. So be the change you want to see in the world, and be a part of something different, a movement that says we're going to change humanity. So Carla, in our last second, I give you both our last seconds before we sign off. What is your last word around our conversation today?
So I put a little comment in the text box. If you would like to help support keeping ADHD and supporting our caregivers, pull out your phone, text the words
90 seconds
to number 52886. A link will pop up, and it will go straight to all of the different officials, and it sends them something that says support adult day health care.
Say that again, Carla, because I think our timer came on top of you, so say that again.
Oh, so text the word CADS, CAADS, to number 52886, and a link will pop up. If you click that link, it will take you to a whole bunch of different officials to say support adult day health care.
All right. So, and that we'll put the link in so that you will see it in the Facebook afterwards. So please do that. All weekend long, just as much as you can. Tell your families. And you know what? If you live long enough, you're going to be a senior too. And let's make that a blessing and not a sentence to death for those of us that are closer to it than the ones that are behind us. So have a great day. Go out and learn something about Juneteenth. Share it with your neighbors. Have a conversation. Knowledge is the key. And then be the change you want to see in the world. Look in the mirror. Identify the things in yourself that you need to change, and be willing to change. It takes one change at a time. We're not asking for a big thing, just little baby steps. So be at peace, and may the world shine upon you this day and over the weekend. Happy Juneteenth to all of you, and God bless.